Hey, babes.
A lot of the moments that were really big, I wanted to share with my daughter. Despite that disagreement we had, I wanted to be whatever she allowed me to be in her life. I wanted that to be. So when it was time for us to do a gender reveal to see what me and my boyfriend at that time were having, I had to call my daughter. And it was me, her girlfriend, and my husband. Well, he was my boyfriend at the time, and my 2 kids. And we all went in there together, and we found out that we were having little Byron.
Hello, world. It's me, Ebonie Marie. We just found out what we're having. You see my boys over here, and my daughter is here. So we are having a
boy.
A what, babe?
Come on, man, a boy.
We're having a boy.
Throughout the pregnancy with little Byron, I was having such complications. The doctors were telling me that he wasn't gonna make it. It was so stressful, and it was one of the scariest times in my life. I thought I was gonna lose a kid before I even had a chance to have him, and I loved him so much before I even saw him. So I went to me and my husband was gonna get married December 19th of 2014. And you know what? Only the people that I loved the most were there. And it was my husband, my 2 sons, my husband's side of the family, my sister Patricia, rest in peace, my daughter, and my daughter's girlfriend. That was it. Those were the only ones that watched me tie the knot with my husband. So I don't get where she's saying that I disowned her because she was gay. That is so far from the truth. However, my daughter has thrown these screenshots up every time it's convenient for her to attack me. And a lot of times, I never said anything. However, I'm in the spotlight now, and people were telling me, you gotta say something, you gotta say something. And I will say, no, just let her. If she wants to defame me for her to grow, let her. I believe that whatever it needs for her to be happy, I am so fine with that. But for her to say that I didn't want her because she was gay, that's not true. As you can see, it was her and her girlfriend at every important event of my life that happened after that incident. And I was fine with that. I was so fine with that. So I don't know where it went wrong, because I've talked to her since then. I've gave her money. I spent time with her. We went out to eat. We've bonded. I think if you really ask me, where did the communication with me and her stop? Because that argument that we had after she robbed me, and I forgave her, and she was a part of my most important moments in my life. That was actually our only big ever fight, ever. One. I think things went wrong when she started being manipulated by a sibling of mine. You see, I have this sibling who, to me, she's living a miserable life. She can't be happy for anybody else. She's constantly hating on people. She's sleeping with people's men. I remember when I told this sibling that I was engaged, right? My little ring. She told me, After I told her I was engaged, she looked at the ring. She was like, oh, well, my baby daddy is going to get me a ring so big, it's going to fall off my hand. And then I just find out that he's like beating her up really bad and snatching braids out of her hair. And, you know, and she's living in an apartment that's not even hers for 5 years. Like 6 people in one room. And I know that this sister of mine has called child welfare on me 15 times just because she was mad. I remember that time I had to curse them out, like, get out of my house. Because she just kept calling, because she would get drunk and she would just want to destroy my life because I chose to live better than she did. So I think it went wrong when that sister began to manipulate my daughter. My daughter, that sister, she befriended my daughter on social media. And my daughter went down to visit her. My daughter was innocent. Let me just put that out there right now. She was innocent. She didn't know that my sister was like manipulating her. And I didn't want my daughter down there. I thought my daughter was too good to be influenced by her. You know, I wanted my daughter to go to college. And my sibling was sitting there getting drunk, you know, trying to tell her, you know, have a drink. My daughter at that time was like 19 years old. I was disgusted, you know. Have you ever just been so disgusted at a person, like, ill? That's how I felt when I see my sibling. Like, man, you could be so better off if you would just lose that personality. And I hated that my daughter was hanging out with her. I felt like my daughter was like this swan. I felt like she was like in college. She didn't need to be around people that were getting drunk, because alcoholism destroyed my life. I don't drink anymore. Alcoholism, my sister just died from that this year. My dad is still an alcoholic. Alcoholism runs in my family so hard. And I don't want my child to have no part of that. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to do it. I'm going to step back and I'm going to let her live her life. Because who am I to tell her who or what she can be around? I have no authority. I'm just the woman that gave birth to her. No matter how much I loved her, I know that I didn't want to be involved with the cattiness that my sibling had, because I didn't want nobody calling no child welfare on me anymore just because they were mad. And my sister did that so many times. So I just took a step back. I had to focus on making sure that little Byron was going to live. I was struggling with that. The doctors were telling me he's not going to make it. And so I just took a step back. And I didn't want no part of no one's drama. Nope. I didn't want no part of it anymore. I figured that at that moment, it was time for me to raise my boys and be the best that I can be. Because I cannot help anybody if I'm broken. So I took a step back. And I reached out to my daughter, I think it was a couple of years ago, like about a year ago. You know what? Because I just felt like, you know, as a mother, you never know if you're wrong or if you're right. And so I reached out to her and I wanted to apologize. I don't know why. I just said, if I've ever offended you, I'm sorry. If I ever made you feel less than what you're supposed to feel like, I'm sorry. I told her how much I loved her. I told her that she was the biggest sacrifice ever. Because no mom, it's not easy to give up a child that you know deserves better than you. And her response was, it was real cold. Like I felt like she was trying to get me to say something negative so she could screenshot the conversation again. So I just let her know, like, listen, I don't understand where the animosity is coming from, but I want to tell you one thing. I love you. And she kept trying to be negative. And the next thing I know, I was blocked. I had no idea why, but I figured her hanging out with my sibling, I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. And then her birthday came up this year, and I realized that I was unblocked, and I wished her happy birthday. And then it was National Adoption Day, and I told my story from my point of view. And that's when all the drama came again. And here's my truth. So here's the question right now. And I know that everybody wants to know. Will I ever consider a relationship with my daughter? And here's my answer. As a mother, I have young boys now. And I don't know what I would do if I let someone in my life, got close to them again, the person betrays me, and then puts where I live all over the social media again. How can I protect myself from that? How can I protect my kids? How can I protect my heart from someone that I love so much, that just wants to constantly attack me? So a lot of you guys will say, well, that's your daughter. Well, I'm her mother. And I feel that my sacrifice sometimes you just want to hear the word thank you. Thank you. Thank you for loving me more than you loved yourself, that you gave me to a beautiful family who raised me, that even when I got older, I came to you, you were there, because that was the truth. I never turned my back on her. I always welcomed her. After she robbed me, we had an argument, big, as you can see. But right after that, we were right back to mom and daughter, at least in my eyes and in my heart. So I don't have any advice for those that are contemplating giving a kid up for adoption. I thought I would. I will say that it is the hardest thing that you will ever have to go through. It is the hardest thing to get your life together and raise other kids, and then look back at the child that you thought that you sacrificed everything for, and that child holds resentment. But it is one of the best things you can do when you know that you cannot give that child what that child deserves. And my daughter was raised in a very loving home, and she deserved that. So I hope that cleared up things for you guys. I didn't really want to go there. If it was up to me, I would just let her continue to bash me, and I wouldn't say anything. Because if she feels good about it, then Sometimes as long as your kids is happy, sometimes that's all that matters. I hope this answered everybody's questions. I didn't put my hair on. I didn't feel the need to do anything else but speak my truth. And that's what I did. So for those that are saying I'm this horrible mother, I think that I'm a great mother. I'm a mother that made sacrifices. I'm a mother that's going to fight for her kids. But I'm also a person. And, yeah. So, I'm going to leave this video with one of my most proudest moments that I've had with my daughter. Something that I didn't get to achieve. Yeah. Have a blessed day.
Jessica Grant. O'Neill Green. Ashley Harrigan.
Yeah!